Wow, that was really fucking hard.
I hit that button. That's off.
We'll get it in post.
I'll edit this out.
What the fuck?
I'll just cut this part out.
Cut
3,
you off.
2, 1, go.
So we're going to move on down to the West region. The number 1 seed Gonzaga Bulldogs versus whatever the Southern University whatevers are.
SWAC.
The SWAC?
No, that's their conference. So
Yeah, I know.
Jaguars.
I don't know. They're the Jaguars?
Yes.
Okay, well, no disrespect, you guys, but you're going to lose. So I'm going with Gonzaga. Carl, any reason that I should pick differently?
Because you have to believe in these small programs.
Isn't Gonzaga a small program?
Go Gonzaga.
Scott, what's your stats here?
I got Gonzaga. They only lost 2 games all season. It's to Butler, who's pretty tough, in Illinois, which I'd never watched it, but anybody can lose any time. So,
Well, there you go. 16-1.
Okay, Gonzaga it is. That leaves us to the 8-9 matchup, Pittsburgh Panthers versus Wichita State Shockers, and I'll never go against anybody called the Shocker, so I'm going to go with them. Carl?
Send it over to Scott. I know he's got good rebounding.
Scott, what's your
Good rebounding
what's your
stats here.
stats here?
I'm going to go with Wichita State in an upset. I like the name Shockers also. That's basically all I'm
We have
basing it
Pittsburgh start here,
off. I
Scott.
changed my mind.
Remnants of last
Carl,
year.
what were you going to say?
I'm going to take Pittsburgh.
It
Not
doesn't
that it
matter.
matters.
It doesn't matter, though.
Not that it matters.
Okay. That leaves us in the 5-12 matchup where we have the number 5 Wisconsin Badgers and number 12 Ole Miss Rebels? Rebels, right? All right, cool. Wisconsin played really well in their tournament. They've been playing really well down the stretch. I'm actually going to pick the Badgers to go through on this one. Carl.
Send it over to Scott.
Scott.
I got Ole Miss. They can really score, and they have I think he's a junior or a senior, Marshall Henderson. He's junior, senior.
Scumbag.
He is. He's a little show off, but he can score 20.1 points per game, and he's just all around good. I think they're going to take down Wisconsin.
I'm going to abstain. I'm going to send this one over to the camera guy because I am very indifferent.
Just take it. You have to pick.
No. Chris, what do you think here? Ole Miss or Wisconsin?
Well,
Don't ever do that again.
I got Ole Miss in a bracket, so we're just going to go with Ole Miss, and hopefully I can keep going through. Keep on keeping on.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome,
Carl, go
guys.
Kansas State versus LaSalle or Boise State. I actually like LaSalle if they win tonight.
Yeah, I'm taking Kansas State. They're just a better team than either of those teams. So there's no upset there. Continue, Scott.
I'd also take Kansas State.
Cut to Scott.
Star pain. That brings us to our 6-11 matchup, Arizona versus Belmont. And honestly, I'm going to go with the upset here. I like Belmont a lot better than I like Arizona. And I think the 11 is going to take down the 6 in the upset. Carl.
Yeah. Little did you know, Belmont just transferred to the Ohio Valley Conference from the Atlantic Sun last year. They won the Atlantic Sun last year. The right conference?
Sure.
That feels right. I'm going to go with Arizona. Sean Miller, Mark Lyons.
I'm going with the 11/6 upset.
You're going to regret it!
Belmont's a giant killer. They got senior leadership. I think they're going to
Giant killer. Do you have any key wins on Arizona?
I don't have that report.
So what you're saying is they're not giant killers.
Anybody can win at any time.
Okay. I'll remember that.
Why don't you get started in the next one?
New Mexico versus Harvard. New Mexico.
Well, thank you, Carl. I'm going to go with New Mexico, too. I think they're a sleeper team in this tournament, and I just like them. Plus, our friend Turtle's Mexican, and by fate, he got New Mexico, so I feel like there's a thing there. Scott, you got any good stats?
I know New Mexico's bad at rebounding, and I know Harvard is Ryan Fitzpatrick's alma mater. But I actually had Harvard upsetting New Mexico. But who knows?
That's
It's a
a
toss-up.
Keep going.
Iowa State out of the Big 12 versus Notre Dame from the Big Least. I'm going to go with Iowa State Cyclones here.
Okay. Why?
Because they are tornadoes and they can beat up Irish because they suck, even though I'm Irish.
By that logic, I hate Notre Dame, but I love bright green. And I'm really digging the new jerseys. So based on that, I'm going to pick Notre Dame. Scott for the tiebreaker.
Those jerseys were awesome, but I don't think they're going to pull it out against Iowa State. Iowa State's going to win.
Okay, thanks, Scott. I don't remember what you said.
Iowa State.
Okay. I was busy fighting Karl. All right, and last but not least, the Ohio State University Buckeyes versus the Iona Gales. Out of the
Shout out to Jason Gage.
Anyways, Iona won their tournament. That's all they're winning. I think Ohio State's going to just romp all over them. Karl.
Just so you know, anybody can win any game at any time. I'm going with the Gales.
I don't
Scott.
think Iona's going to win this game at this time. I think Ohio State's going to pull it out.
Thank you, Scott.
Boo.
That brings us to our third round matchups. We got Gonzaga taking on the Wichita State Shockers. I think Gonzaga, like we've said, is the weakest of the 1 seeds, and I have a feeling they're going to lose at some point, but it's not going to be here. I got the Zags. Karl.
I'm going to go with Wichita State. You know, shock them, rock them, shove them up, shove them.
I mean, a cool mascot can only take you so far. They're going to follow Gonzaga.
Okay.
Hey, Karl, what's our next matchup?
Fuck you. Ole Miss versus Kansas State University. I'm going to go with Ole Miss here.
I'm going to take Kansas State.
Oh, good. Well, I know Ole Miss is going to win. So.
I agree with Karl. I think Ole Miss is still going to just keep it rolling.
Stop taking those. And what about Belmont and New Mexico?
I like Belmont over New Mexico.
I'm going to take Belmont as well.
We're all
Scott.
unanimous on this upset because I'm picking Belmont also.
Okay. Good
For anybody
stuff.
filling out their brackets at home, do not follow us.
No, now it became a thing of war, like it always does. Iowa State versus Ohio State. I got Ohio State. Karl, tell me why you have Iowa State.
I have Ohio State. Thank you.
All right. Scott, you got anything to add before this gets violent?
No, I think I'm going to go with Ohio State also.
OHIO.
Shout out to Jason Gage.
Said that. All right, that brings us to the 1 versus 12 matchup. Gonzaga taking on Ole Miss. I don't even think Ole Miss is getting out of the first round, so I'm going to take the Zags here. Karl.
Well, I had Southern upsetting Gonzaga in the first round, so I'm going to go with Gonzaga here.
In my bracket, I had Ole Miss go into the Final Four, so I'm going to say they're beating Gonzaga here.
Luckily, you're right. It didn't matter because we both said Gonzaga. Anyways, that leaves Belmont and Ohio State, and I believe the dream dies here. Ohio State beats Belmont.
Let's not rule anything out.
Who are you going to pick?
Okay. Scott, what do you got for me?
Scott, who's going to win?
I really don't want to make a number 1 versus a number 2 again in the Elite 8, but it looks like it's going to happen. Ohio State's got some good players. Deshaun Thomas is averaging 19 points a game, 6 assists, and Aaron Kraft has that leadership.
And here's where I believe the number 1 seed falls. Once again, I'm going to take the 2 seed to move on to the Final Four, Ohio State. Scott, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Gonzaga. They can just score up and down the court.
I'm going to go with Ohio State.
Ohio State moving on to the Final Four.
Torsion.
And we'll be back after this short break.